I'm being bold. I feel like the folks that are using AI for their headshots are almost catfishing.
Catfishing.
If you don't know what catfishing is, Don,
it's when you represent yourself as one person online and then you show up as another.
Correct.
And we're going to use the podcast air quotes for catfishing.
We are.
Because catfishing is an awful, terrible thing. It's also, I think it's a crime.
It is a crime.
It's a version of fraud. Yeah. But your argument was if you show up online and somebody sees a picture of you and then you show up in real life and you see them and the person appears to be maybe a different weight, maybe a different age, maybe a different hair color, maybe different this or that. One of two things has maybe happened. You're either using an AI headshot and you're making yourself look maybe different than you do.
Yes.
Or maybe you're using a headshot from 30 years ago.
Right.
And I think
happens.
It does happen.
A wedding couple pays you once.
A corporate client pays you for years or even decades.
It's time to leverage your creativity, knowledge, and experience in a whole new market.
Hi, I'm Don.
I'm Emily.
And we're the Mamonies.
Welcome to Hocus Pocus,
the magic behind your wildly successful studio.
We've spent the last 20 years building a system to dominate the corporate market,
so we could exceed our clients' expectations from Dallas to destinations around the world.
Now we're sharing all of our secrets with you,
so you can build a life and business you truly want, doing what you really love. Okay, on with the show.
Episode 13.
Oh.
It's lucky.
Is it?
It is lucky. I love 13.
You do like 13?
I do, yeah.
That's because you wear all black.
Correct.
And you love The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And all the things.
And Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes.
And all of the creepy Hotel Transylvania and Addams Family movies.
And all the old school Bela Lugosi, like, give it to me, all the black and white horror films and all that stuff. I love it.
All right. Slow your roll.
It's not October yet.
It's not October yet.
School just happened again.
Back to school. So Frankie went to school first day last Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So today was her first Monday. Yeah. Fourth grade. You blink and the time goes. It's unbelievable. So as a business owner, operator, parent, what does back to school mean for you?
Well, currently right now, we used to have a studio back in the day, so it was a little bit different. But now we do most of our work from home because our clients take us out to them. So we don't really need a studio anymore. We did when we were doing a lot more weddings and portraiture. So we work from home. And so when you have your little ones with you at home, you know, the energy gets a bit intense, and especially here in Texas. You can't just be like, hey, go play in the backyard unless you have a pool, because it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah. And so
they feel like caged animals all summer.
Yeah. So it's a lot of coming up with entertainment and healthy movement and all that stuff. So it's Don and I both like, when Frankie goes back to school.
Yeah.
And so
we miss her though.
We miss her, but our tradition, because she doesn't particularly care for curry and spicy, the last day of school we go get Indian food, and the first week of school we go get Indian food.
Yeah, she's not big into the spicy food.
She loves some, but so that's our like tradition. We'd love to hear what everybody's traditions are to celebrate the kids going back to school.
Yeah. So productivity just kind of, I think, goes down a level or two during the
100%.
summer. And that's somewhat seasonality, and it's also somewhat strategic. You know, as entrepreneurs, one of my favorite things is we get to spend the summer with Frankie. You know, we traveled to see my sister, we traveled to see clients, we take Frankie with us. And so that's really fun. It's time to ramp back up.
I want to make a little side note, because one of the things I love about corporate photography is that everybody typically gets slow during the holidays and the summer seasons, because they all want to be with their families and they all want to travel. And so you don't often see that in the wedding world, because in northern environments and stuff, that's when you see weddings happening during the summer. Here in the South, it is more in the spring and the fall. But yeah, it's kind of nice. Everybody just slows down. They're like, hey, we're going to go do our own thing. And
Yeah,
so,
I mean, nobody wants to have a conference when all of their families are together
Yeah.
and traveling.
yeah,
And
unless it's an intentional, like, hey, bring your whole family to this conference
Yeah.
kind of thing.
it does happen. I
Yeah.
think it's just kind of seasonality.
You don't see it as often. So you see the seasons in corporate photography picking up when those seasons end, right?
Yeah. So last week we talked about AI, and I'll be candid, people seem to be really interested in AI right now. We had a lot of people ask questions, and we had a lot of people kind of show up and listen. And we talked about the fact that we made a bold statement.
We did.
AI will not take your live event business.
I still agree with that.
I still agree with that. We also, though, started talking a bit about AI with regards to creativity versus AI and productivity. And one of the conversations that started to develop online was the difference between like AI headshots,
Right.
which is creativity, and AI mining for information and helping you with tasks, which is productivity. People really identified that they don't like AI headshots because they're of the AI slop, like
Yes.
or muck,
Muck.
as you
I
said.
like the word muck.
You like the word muck. And I was so interested that I decided to do a little bit of research, but I also used AI to do some data aggregation for me.
Right.
And I was like, is this true?
Yeah.
Would we think that this is actually true? And one of the interesting things that was served up by a credible source was in the HR space, there are quite a few different organizations and institutions globally that not only don't prefer AI headshots, but have literally said, these aren't okay, we won't allow you to use them.
Right.
And interestingly enough, the industries in which that was happening were ones that are rooted in trust.
Yes. Medical field.
Medical, healthcare,
Yeah.
legal, real estate, all these places where the goal is to introduce you to the client before you have a chance to meet the client.
Right.
He said something interesting when we were on our walk and talk this morning.
This is a little provocative, and I think I thought it was interesting because, you know, this is subject to opinion.
Don't qualify it. Just be bold. Just
I'm
say
being
it.
bold. I feel like the folks that are using AI for their headshots are almost catfishing.
Catfishing.
If you don't know what catfishing is, Don,
It's when you represent yourself as one person online and then you show up as another.
Correct.
And we're going to use the podcast air quotes for catfishing.
We are.
Because catfishing is an awful, terrible thing. It's also, I think it's a crime.
It is
I think
a crime.
It's a version of fraud.
Yeah.
But your argument was if you show up online and somebody sees a picture of you and then you show up in real life and you see them and the person appears to be maybe a different weight, maybe a different age, maybe a different hair color, maybe different this or that. One of two things has maybe happened. You're either using an AI headshot and you're making yourself look maybe different than you do.
Yes.
Or maybe you're using a headshot from 30 years ago.
Right.
And I
Which
think
happens.
it does happen.
It does happen.
In fact, we get turned down for headshots in situations where they're optional. No, I like the one I have because it's from 10 years ago and maybe 10 pounds ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And we get that. But it was really interesting because it gave credence to the fact that what we were talking about and what our audience was kind of affirming
Yes.
is actually true in the marketplace.
Yes.
The other thing that it said was recruiters that were asked kind of in a blind survey, do you like this headshot or this headshot? Overwhelmingly picked the AI generated headshot, which you would think would go against what we're saying.
Yeah.
But ironically, the minute it was disclosed that it was an AI headshot, they immediately were like, I don't want to see that.
Right.
Despite the fact that it was nice and it was okay, they were immediately felt duped,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Catfished.
Because of the catfish concept.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that was really interesting. And we wanted to talk about that today as a sort of dovetail or an entry point into talking about like how creatives get to use AI.
Yeah.
But almost more importantly, what we find is most photographers that enter the market enter into the social
Right.
element. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a little bit of reiteration today. We're going to kind of try to put it within the context of AI. And they're reluctant or scared to move into the corporate market. And so I went to work again.
Yeah.
And I looked at some of the different ways in which I've been doing deep research. And I asked AI to talk to me about diversification of...
Very quickly, as people are starting to learn, because we've talked about this before, I am not the tech person.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this conversations right now are going to be Dawn heavy because it's not my thing. But I learn very slowly, and then certain elements become my thing. But when you say a search engine in AI, what does that mean to the listener who might be myself? Level of like,
first of all,
pen to paper artist,
First of all, the thing I love about it,
technical person.
I love about it is you oftentimes will say something on our walk and talk, and I'll be like, "Ooh, that's interesting. That's provocative. That's engaging," and then it incites me to like go and do the research. So, deep research in my world of AI is I use an agent that I've either created or that I leverage, and I ask it to basically aggregate data.
Okay.
I make a point, and then I say, is this point valid? And if so, I want you to cite the sources, and I want you to tell me all the ways in which I can defend this position.
Okay. I love this because one of the reasons why I asked you this question, because it leads into the next part that we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the episode about how to generate leads, right? So we often have push back of like conflicting information.
Yeah.
And so this helps.
It helps because I'm a data-driven person.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm emotional and I have tons of feelings, but when I make decisions, I like to be data-driven.
Yeah.
And so when I started talking about how can I figure out ways to make this factual or data-driven and not just be our personal experience, I turned to AI.
Right.
And I said, hey, I need your help because we don't do weddings anymore. And we've created an educational opportunity to teach other folks who start in the wedding industry. And just to put a quick reminder, if you didn't listen to previous episodes, typically we find that the reason people start there is low barrier to entry.
Yes.
Easy communication when you're talking business to consumer.
Yep.
And there's just not the knowledge gap that sometimes exists when it comes to corporate.
Right.
So people start there.
Yeah.
And then they stay there.
Yeah. My personal experience of getting into weddings was a similar path. I was doing like portraiture for commercial work. And then I had a friend come, hey, you take pictures? Will you take pictures of my wedding?
Yeah.
And
you got pulled into it.
Yeah, I got pulled into it. And then shortly thereafter, I met Dawn, and Dawn was already in that journey as well into weddings. And so it was not an intentional, hey, I'm going to go into weddings.
Yeah.
It was, hey, you do that. You take really pretty like portraiture of a fashion. Can you do that with my wedding dress? And I'm like, okay.
Sure.
Yeah,
I can do that.
I can. And so, yeah, it doesn't work that same way in the corporate world.
No, there is a very different sort of rubric or way in which a corporate person is going to qualify their vendors. And so I asked AI if our theory holded water.
Yeah.
I always think of my cousin Vinny. Does it hold water? And it does.
Yeah.
It does. I was really excited to find that the deep research that came back basically nerded out on me, even at a level that I don't nerd out. And so in the effort of trying to communicate this succinctly, I basically divided it up based on some of our content pillars and the way that we create information for everybody to hopefully benefit from. One of the taglines about the way in which we grew and we want to help other people grow is it's not about more, it's about different and better. So the first place I started was with the market.
Yeah.
And what it told me was that weddings are a more established market. And so therefore, over the next decade or so, that it expects slower growth and more saturation, which was interesting because it's a more established and potentially even larger market at this point, which it defined as a bigger pie. Mm. But what it said was that pie will stay the same size for longer, and there will be more people looking for a piece of that pie.
Right.
So as as your self-proclaimed non-tech person, does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
So for the audience, that makes sense, I hope. Corporate, on the other hand, is slightly newer, and there's now an increased focus on high quality visual content because of, drumroll please, brand awareness.
Yeah.
We live in a world, I think, right now where there's just an oversaturation of noise and confusion and distraction, and getting your signal through all that noise is increasingly difficult.
Right.
And so companies are like, we need more and better and higher quality visual content in order to break through the noise and have people be aware of our brand and listen to what we have to say. So that was the number one thing. The second thing was about the client. And here's the thing. You and I have talked about this. It's not that we didn't really love weddings. It's that after a period of time, it wasn't the best. We loved, I would say, pretty much every couple we worked with.
Absolutely.
Right? Do you have a favorite? I'm going to put you right on the spot.
Oh man, no, I don't have a favorite.
It's like picking a favorite child.
Yes, I have like everyone, but we took a lot of time to like build the relationship before the wedding happened, so we knew we were in the same alignment. And man, yeah.
So here's the funny thing though. I bet you, and I'm so curious, and I hope the audience responds. We said no to weddings.
We did.
We would meet with a couple and or the family, and it was very infrequent because most of our leads, as they typically tend to be in the wedding market, were referral based.
Yes.
Or they had looked at our work and that there was kind of a pre-alignment.
Yeah.
But we had some people that were like, oh my gosh, we'd really like to move forward with you. And you and I decided that it wasn't necessarily going to be as successful. And it was not in the 10s. It was in the 1s. You could probably count them on 2 hands.
Yeah.
But that was a wild thing.
Those are ones that then your peers have taken them on, and you hear the doozy stories, and you're like, wow, I'm glad I really dodged that.
we might have missed that.
But yeah.
And so
we digress.
So AI wasn't going to talk about the personal connection. AI was talking about like the client by way of wedding versus corporate or social versus corporate. And what it said was it used acronyms, which I think for the productivity business people are great. And for the creative, not so much business people are like, whatever, that's just a bunch of letters strung together. But what it started with...
My favorite word that AI loves to use in describing things is bespoke.
Bespoke. It's bespoke.
Anytime I see it written down now into anybody's website, I'm like, I know who wrote this.
And it's usually...
it wasn't you.
It's usually preceded by or followed by an M dash.
Right.
Yeah. But please understand that M dash is a very grammatically correct thing. And just because AI uses it doesn't mean it's not good.
No, it's just like
it's funny.
The strawberry thing right now.
Yeah, that it can't spell strawberry. AI, I'm going to say it right now. AI isn't intelligent.
No.
It's very useful. It's very productive. It's an aggregation of data.
And you're welcome, everybody who now comes across the word bespoke.
Emily's in your brain.
Because it's just a word that isn't used very often, maybe in England or something, but
I think it's up there with curated, right?
Yeah.
It's curated.
Pinkies out.
Pinkies out. Although I'm a language person, and don't ever, 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 ever call your offers packages. Please call them collections.
If you call it packages, I'm going to think of a hunky UPS delivery guy. Okay.
Maybe that says more about you than it does the word packages.
But
okay.
Anyways, we really
back to client. This is why our walk and talks are fun, though. We talked about that today. Okay, clients. So it used acronyms. It used CAC and LV. CAC stands for client acquisition cost, and LV stands for lifetime value.
This is when my eyes start to...
Well, here's how I'm going to explain it. The fun marketing copy that we've written is, on one side, you have a one and done client that can cost you a significant amount of time and money to acquire, but then is one and done.
Right.
So that's the client acquisition cost. Lifetime value is the one and done part. So how much does it cost to get them?
Right.
And how long can you keep them?
Right.
Well, when it comes to a wedding couple, you can only keep them one time.
Right.
Now, that means that you can get referral.
You hope only one time.
And let's just be candid. If someone gets divorced and are going to get remarried, they're probably not reaching out to their original
You may get a brother or sister or somebody.
Right. Referral.
Referral.
Get lots of referrals, but there's not a lot of repeat business.
From the one person.
And so that's a insanely important thing, because when you think about how much time and money you're spending getting the client, and there's almost zero opportunity to keep the client, it moves into the next thing that AI served up, which is financials.
Yeah.
And that's that this play of margin versus volume. I'm going to make a slightly provocative statement again, and I want to say that I have a lot of wedding folks that I love dearly, including people from the Wedding Pro Educator Series that I'm a part of, that I love. Shout out to the Knot and to their Fellowship of Change and their grant program and all the things that they do. When you look at your financials, a lot of wedding professionals are proud of their wedding count.
Yeah.
Right? I do 30 weddings a year, 40 weddings a year, 50 weddings a year. And that's when I start looking at it and I say, maybe it's not about more, maybe it's about different and better, because depending on what you're charging for that wedding, does it justify the amount of time it cost you and the amount of money it cost you to acquire that client for them to be one and done? And if your number of weddings grow, your income will grow, but so will your burnout.
Right. And that people are like, oh man, I got paid this great price for this wedding. But then when you start breaking down the hours that have actually been spent into it once it's delivered, you're like, wow, I really got paid minimum wage here.
Yeah.
And so those things start adding up and people start burning out very quickly, right?
You want to make an entrepreneur cry if they're not at their most effective, or if their productivity isn't maximized, have them do a time audit.
Yes.
And it'll make them typically look at it and say, oh my God, I'm doing what and how much for how much.
Which is, I like to say this is one of the things that when you're doing an audit, a brand audit on somebody, you're like, hey, let's break down how much time you're actually putting into this.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that we, us creatives, are always like, we know it's there.
You just don't want to look at it.
We just don't want to look at it, right?
Plus it's math. People don't typically like math.
Very important.
Yeah. And so when it comes to the financials, volume versus margin, I talk about it all the time. That's typically the two ways you can make money. You can either make it on margin, which means you make more money for the period of time you're working, or you make it on volume, which just means you do more work and make more money, or you sell more product and make more money. And so that's a really unique Venn diagram of like margin and volume. Where they intersect is where you live. Yeah. And so if you're doing 50 weddings a year at $2,500 or $3,500, yeah, you're making a good deal of money, but you're working really, 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 really hard and for a very long period of time. And so I want to make it clear that we're not necessarily against the wedding market altogether. We're just trying to help open people's eyes to what that wedding market looks like, what that wedding operation looks like. And there's a ton of successful wedding photographers even that sell programs to help you be more efficient, use AI editing, use outsourcing your editing so that the work that you're doing is more in line with the money that you're making. Perfect. That exists out there. Yeah. And that's why our website is not like, I hate weddings or I don't do weddings. It's shedding the wedding, because I think for some people over the years, the weddings are feeling like a weight. Yeah. And if you can lift that weight a bit and shift and be more nimble and diversify and differentiate and all those things, suddenly things get better. So you're going to be in Vegas in November. Yeah. And we're going to be talking about pricing. Because it's one of the biggest things is when we start talking about financials, and when I asked AI about the things, it highlighted financials about one of the biggest things is it's not the count as much as it is the per wedding. Right. And most people struggle with understanding just how much time and energy and work is put into it, how much their creativity, time, knowledge, and talent for all the years that they've been working are expected to be valued at. Yeah. And so a good many of them are undercharging. So yeah, Wedding MBA is going to be an unbelievable opportunity to influence and impact a whole big group of people at one time. Because what I want to see happen is scalability and sustainability, which was the other thing that AI pointed out. Yeah. In the wedding market, for most people, they are a 1 or 2 person operation. Sure. They book a wedding, they shoot the wedding, they edit the wedding and or get help editing the wedding, they deliver the wedding. Yeah. And corporate, as it pointed out, offers you opportunity to scale, have multiple teams for multiple days in multiple places, all making money at the same time. Yep. And these are typically not one and done clients, people. These are your repeat clients you've been working with for years.
They know what to expect. They love coming back to you. You're part of their family. I'm going to give the air quotes to that.
Yeah.
Because they do this event once a year and everybody comes together and automatically knows what to do. So,
and there's nothing better than like being an extension of their team, showing up, having them appreciate you. But then you see people that are part of the company that you know run across a ballroom for you and are like, oh my God, I was hoping you'd be here this year.
Giving them a big hug.
Yeah,
I mean, their families, and
so if you think corporate's boring or you know not emotional, it's there. So I didn't want to point all these things out and talk about all these things and allow AI to do all this deep research for me without us creating some solutions for people.
Right. How do we use, we used AI to do the research and it checks all your boxes. You're like, this sounds correct.
Yeah.
This looks correct. So how do we use AI to start implementing to help generate leads?
I divided this into 3 things.
Okay.
3 things to do right now if you're a wedding and social photographer that's going to get you ready to take corporate work.
Okay.
The first thing you need to do is create a portfolio. We talked about this briefly, and I want to just dig.
Like, breaks. Yeah. We're not having AI create photos, people.
No.
Okay.
No, but AI.
I can hear all the people getting, oh my God.
No,
we're not doing that.
You know, all of your work gets to be your work.
Yes.
But what you can do is, and let me give you the 3, and then I will tell you how to use AI to do the deep research and to find these things. Because basically it's like doing a Google search, but with the ability to get an outcome and an output that is not manual. Number 1 thing you have to do is create the portfolio, and there's 3 ways to do that. Second, shoot for an established event photographer in your area.
Right.
2, holiday parties.
Yep.
You wouldn't think of that.
Yep.
If you've photographed a wedding reception, you can photograph a holiday party.
Yeah.
Wait for it, ready? A corporate holiday party.
Yeah.
So suddenly you're now doing corporate photography. And what happens oftentimes at a corporate holiday party is you have speakers. You get a photo of a speaker with a microphone in their hand. They're doing raffle giveaways. They're doing awards a lot of the time, which awards photography for a corporate environment. And then you're doing, of course, couples and portraits and things like that. And then the third is we talked about nonprofit events. Saying that you're going to pick a nonprofit that's important to you, that aligns with your values, and you're going to go do photography for them. So how do you use AI to do these things? You ask it to find you in the area established photography studios within 50 miles of me that specialize in corporate commercial photography. And we'll give you a list. And somebody might be saying, well, I can just get Google to do that for me. Sure. It'll give you a list of businesses in the area, and then you'll have to click in on that, and then you'll have to find that business, and you'll have to either get their phone number, their email, or their Instagram.
And if that company hasn't done the right SEO,
it may not even show up at all.
It may not even pop up.
And so...
like, I thought these guys were the biggest game in town, and they didn't pop up because they didn't do their website correctly. So, or
because they, made the algorithm gods angry or whatever it is. But when you work with an AI system like Claude, that's my choice of AI. You can build a skill that basically goes out and seeks out against all these criteria, populates it in a spreadsheet for you. Tells you the company, tells them where you're located, tells them their email address, tells them the phone number, and then delivers that to you with a little bow on top. I call it Santa Claude. I don't know if I've told you that. I call it Santa Claude because it gives me gifts all the time. And then you can then find out which ones you want to reach out to. Whatever you do, do not then send a spammy email to all of them at one time. Dear photo studio, find the ones that you want to work with, send them a genuine email that you would like to be put on their associate photographer list or assistant photographer list, and then wait for those things to roll in. It's both financially beneficial in that they typically pay a fair wage for you to shoot and then just hand over cards. And 2, it's going to grow your portfolio. If the purpose in you doing this is to be able to use the photos, you need to check with the photographer before you start. I want to make sure that I understand how I'm allowed to use these photos as the person who captures them. Some say use them for whatever you want. Sometimes use them for whatever you want after we deliver them to client. Some say you can't use them at all. And some people typically will say, okay, you can use them on your website, but not social media or something like that. So just...
And sometimes it has nothing to do with the photographer. It has to do with the contracts they sign with the
100%.
client. So a lot of our clients I like that.
They don't want to have their photos, or they ask us not to use their photos in our marketing because of the contracts they sign with your client. Great point. So that's one. Second thing, you have to build a page of your website, if nothing else.
Yes.
Here's an unbelievable story. Okay. One of the people in the program has a wedding photography that's successful, and they're doing a great job, and they have great SEO. And so they get lots and lots of leads. And I was like, hey, we need to have some place to send your corporate leads. I'm not ready to build another site. I don't know if I'm going to, I said, that's fine. Just now use your brand /corporate and just create a page where you can send people to build the credibility that you're doing this.
Yeah.
And she had corporate work.
Yeah.
She just didn't have a place. So she built this page.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It has enough work to show I do this. I'm good at this. You can have the confidence in me to hire me. And then we got a lead associated with this global world sporting event that just happened this last summer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a fit for us. We had conflicts. We were traveling with family and a variety of other things. And I said, hey, I feel like this is a great fit for you. Is it okay if I recommend you? And I recommended her. And I was able to send them to that page that she had created like 30 days earlier. Not a whole website, not a ton of SEO, just a place where they could gain the confidence. And guess what? They booked her.
Yeah.
And it was a $12,000 corporate opportunity.
Right.
Because she created a page where I could send them that didn't have couples and bouquets and rings and shoes and dresses.
Yep. Very simple move can make very big impact.
Because you got to have a place to send them.
Yes.
They have to see themselves in your work, and they have to have the confidence that you're not just a fly-by-night, that's just trying to make some money on the side. And then this one's a little more difficult. It takes a little bit more a knowledge gap, but the last thing is you have to be prepared to send pricing.
Yeah.
So we've started to build a portfolio. We've had a place to send them.
Yep.
And then you have to have a price. You have to give them, and because unlike weddings, it's not so much I just have to put my pricing out there and they decide whether they want to do it or not. Typically, they'll send you something that says, hey, I have an RFP, another acronym.
Right.
Request for proposal.
There you go.
And you'll read through it and you'll send them back a reply. And so that's the third and most important thing is speed to market's important. And if you get an RFP and you start to sweat and panic and you get the deer in headlights look and it takes you a week to put together a proposal, they've already hired their photographer.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I don't know that we've talked about it that much in previous episodes, but in the corporate world, booking it's a very short window of time where a wedding, you have weeks that will go by and because they have a lot of elements of getting approval from parents or, whoever might be helping paying and all that stuff. So where the corporate person's they already have their budget together. They already know what they want. And so they're coming in. And so quick response is what books.
Yes.
Yeah.
and everybody's pricing can be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I want to acknowledge that. If you're starting out, you may be at a slightly lower level, but you have to remember that everything translates except for the knowledge gap. Right. We've talked about that. You're using the same gear, the same techniques. It's just there's a slight knowledge gap. And so I think there's a lot of people that come in there and are like, oh, I guess I have to charge super cheap. If you have the knowledge and the confidence, you get to charge what the industry kind of things are. And you can use AI for that too. Yeah. Right. You could kind of reach out and say, what is the, typical range for this, and to give you information. You have to take into consideration your market, what you're actually doing. It gets a little messier and it gets a little deeper. And that's part of why we created the program that we created. Was the first couple of these things seem easy, and they might be for some folks, but there's a certain tipping point where you're like, now I feel like I'm in the weeds.
Right.
And
I've got all these contracts coming at me. I've got these legal requests. I've got, what does all this stuff mean?
Yep.
And it's may seem daunting, right? But it
doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
I continue to get people that have gone through the program and they've got a considerable amount of confidence. They still love to be able to just send us something and say, we got a question the other day from one of our students that said, hey, I've got this really unbelievable opportunity. It's a commercial project. I think it's going to be just great. I'm ready to quote them a day rate, but I'm completely lost when it comes to licensing fees.
Yeah.
and it was literally double what they were going to quote for their day rate for the licensing fees, because that's how it works in the commercial world. And so it's really fun to basically be in a situation where these folks are fully able and fully capable of operating in that space, but they just like having a community and a couple that have been through it already to say, based on the times that we've done this, not the time, but the times that we've done this, here's how we've approached it. Here's some recommendations. Now you choose how you want to handle it. Yeah. And it's fun for them to come back and be like, oh my God, I booked it and it's 3 times what I thought it was going to be. Yeah. So that's really fun. Yeah. What else is there? Anything else?
No, I think just to kind of wrap it up, it's like the conversation is using AI to help you is not a bad thing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Always be aware of the content though, right? We were joking last night about there's a little meme out where the person asks asks AI if this mushroom is edible, and then the next little cartoon over the person knocked off, and and then AI, what did AI say? It was so funny.
I've seen it a couple different ways where it's like, it's a gravestone or somebody laying there and the AI says, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. That mushroom was poisonous and deadly.
Right. So just be aware.
You have to be suspicious.
You have to be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Sorry.
Don't be scared to use the information and use broad searches to help you generate leads and things like that. And you'll be all right.
I'm suddenly just aware of every time I make a pop culture reference that you don't maybe necessarily remember. You just keep plowing right through. The call to action at the end of the episode that we get to say every single time to help is go to sheddingthewedding.com. Yeah. There's a little video there that I worked really, really hard on.
With your pop culture references.
With all of my pop culture references. And you can book a discovery call. And I want to make it clear that discovery call isn't a hard sales pitch. It's not even a pitch at all. It's literally a studio discovery call to find out where you're at. Yeah. And if you're ready or when you'll be ready to diversify, to take on corporate clients, to grow your studio, or to give you some advice or guidance on how you can increase your pricing in the wedding market, or get through whatever it is that's holding you back, because that's the intended goal here, is to differentiate and diversify in a way that allows you to decide what you want and go out and get it.
What you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, doing what you love. All right, that's a wrap.
That's it.
You're creative, you're knowledgeable, and you've got all the experience and professional gear you'll need.
It's time to leverage it all in a whole new market full of loyal clients.
Remember, it's not about more, it's about different and better.
Hit subscribe, leave us a review, so other creatives can find their way to us on Hocus Focus.
Join us next week for more magic behind your wildly successful studio.
I'm Don.
I'm Emily.
Thanks for listening.